Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. This video is for ICSE Class 10 students with a specific study strategy for history and civics paper. And I strongly believe that it is possible to score an 80 on 80 in history and civics. So listen to this video right till the end to know how exactly to go about scoring that 80 on 80. There are some people who believe that history civics yaad nahi hota hai. Now with more competency focused questions, I would say don't try to yadify history and civics. Instead, follow the approach that I have followed for many years. Try to understand. And if you understand, and as I always say, try to look at history as a story, you will realize that you don't really need to put in that much effort into history and civics. Civics, of course, understanding is key. And that's what we aim to do out here. Now, and I don't believe in this whole theory that, I am not good at history and civics. Everyone is a potential achiever and you should always aim for the top. There is no fun in aiming for a 60 on 80. 60 on 80 leke maza kya hai, right? You should aim for the top. If not 80, at least you will land up somewhere around 77, 78, right? So that should be your aim. Now let's look at the format of the question paper, because formats have changed over the years, which is why I keep telling my students, don't look to do too many PYQs. Don't look to do the 2015, 14, 16 ka question paper. No use really. Okay. Try to look at the last 5 years. That should be more than good enough, because the format has also changed. More than the format, the tone of the question paper has changed, and I will explain how. Now in part 1, you have 16 MCQs, 6 are from civics, 10 are from history. In the model specimen paper, which has been issued by the council, I was looking at the chapter wise questions, and I was a little surprised to see that 3 out of the 6 questions in civics were from the High Court and Subordinate Courts chapter, which to me seemed a little odd. 2 questions were from Parliament and one was from the President chapter. This seemed a little lopsided to me, because I don't think that would really be the case, that you wouldn't get a single question from the Prime Minister chapter or a single question from the Supreme Court chapter, and as many as 3 questions from the High Court and the Subordinate Courts chapter. Because I'm saying this specifically and I'm pointing this out because students tend to arrive at their own conclusions based on the specimen paper. However, having said that, I want to say that there is a message in this also, जिसके बारे में आपको ध्यान रखने की जरूरत है. मैसेज ये है कि ऐसी गलती मत कीजिए कि आप कोई भी चैप्टर छोड़ के जाए. Don't make the mistake of leaving out any chapter. Let's assume you leave out the High Courts and Subordinate Courts chapter, and then in the paper you find that 3 of the 6 MCQs in civics are from that chapter. Then what will you do? You would be sacrificing your 3 marks right away in the first question itself. So the message here is, don't do that. Though I would think that it wouldn't be the case that 3 out of 6 questions, that is 50% of the civics questions would be from one chapter. That may not be the case in my opinion. Okay. Another aspect that you need to bear in mind is that many of the MCQs will not be straightforward MCQs. It will not be the kind of MCQs that were asked in the last 2-3 years. They would be a little more complicated. How would they be complicated? First of all, expect MCQs with spot the incorrect option question or using not. Which of these is not a condition of something, right? So you need to be able to think of the not, and sometimes it can get a little confusing if a double negative is used. So you need to read carefully. Number 2, there would be more case-based MCQs. This means that you need to find a modern day connection to a historical incident. For example, let's say a question like, Anirudh plans to do a project on the only Congress session that was presided over by Mahatma Gandhi, right? This was also in the news recently. So which city should Anirudh visit for doing his project. So the answer would be Belgaum, which is now Belagavi in Karnataka, northern part of Karnataka. 1924 session, the only session that was presided over by Mahatma Gandhi. Now you may say, "Arey, sabhi sessions ke president ke naam yaad rakhne ki zarurat hai?" No. In the Morning Star textbook, you would find there is a box given of some of the important sessions. It's on a left-hand side page. Please remember the items given in that box. That's all you need to do. If Mahatma Gandhi was the president only once in Belgaum, that obviously is a historical event. The other kind of MCQ would be to find the odd one out. Here you need to strictly follow the process of elimination. Then there would be, of course, the assertion and reasoning questions. Now this means that you need to know the reasons why a constitutional post performs a particular function, or history, why a particular decision was taken. For example, assertion and reasoning question around the partition of Bengal or the formation of the Muslim League, that this was, you are given a statement in assertion, you're given a statement in reasoning, or the formation of the forward block, which is there incidentally in your specimen paper. Now these kind of topics lend themselves to the assertion and reasoning thing. So I'm giving you a clue. So when you read it carefully to say that, oh, this is an assertion, this was the reason, so this can come as an A and R question. Now, if you look at our question bank, you will find loads of test papers, huge number of MCQs, lots of subjective questions, picture-based questions, the reasoning questions, all of them to help you practice better. So you should look at them, you should try to solve them. All you need to do is to download the app. The link is given in the description box, and the MCQs you can solve either on your PC or on your phone. The details are given in the information note in the first folder. The subjective question and answers, what I want you to do is to read them 3 to 4 times. Note how I have included the keywords and how I have presented the answer. That's all you need to know. Now, question 2 of part 1 is the 2-mark questions. Now there will be 7 of them. 7 into 2, 14 marks, right? According to the specimen paper, 2 of them are from civics and 5 of them are from history. Now these can be straightforward questions, like name the 2 cities of Japan on whom the atom bomb was dropped in 1945. Now all you need to write there is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You don't need to write the entire background to that, because it's saying mention the 2 cities. It's not asking you to give details. But at the same time, there could be some 2-mark questions that can compel you to use your mind a little more in detail. For example, a news item on ordnance, again from your specimen paper, or let's say president's rule. You know, president's rule was imposed in so and so state, and then ask you to deduce from the paragraph which has been given. So here I want to tell you one thing, that please read the question and act accordingly. And listen to this carefully. If it says name something, just mention the name. If it says mention, just mention. If it says justify, then you need to justify why something actually happened. If it says give reasons, then you need to provide the reasons. If it says analyze, then you need to give an explanation and analyze. So the point I'm trying to make is that you need to be very careful about what is the word that has been used in the question. Name, mention, analyze, discuss, justify, reason. These are all the words that are used in the question. So you need to keep that in mind. Now let's look at part 2 of the paper. I hope part 1 is absolutely clear. Section A of part 2 deals with civics. That's for 20 marks, but you will be given 3 questions and you have the choice of doing any 2 of the 3. Now, each question will have 3 subparts. In the 15 minutes of reading time, you need to decide which of the 3 questions you are going to attempt, depending on the fact that you need to know all the 3 subparts very clearly. One of the 3 questions will be on parliament, the second will be on executive, and the third one will be on the judiciary. Section B will have 5 questions, of which you need to do 3 from history. Now 3 of these questions will be on Indian history, right from 1857 to independence of India in 1947, 3, and 2 questions will be on world history. what should be then your preparation strategy? Now, one of the questions that is asked to me is that do we need to remember years? See, years earlier there would be no question that will be asked straight away because there were no MCQs. But now with MCQs coming, it gets a little tricky that you could be asked a question where you need to remember the year. Also, I believe that in your subjective answer, if you include the year also while you're talking about it, that this happened in so and so year, the examiner is bound to be impressed that, oh, this student also remembers these kind of facts, and that's adding value. So what I've done is, on the app in the free material section, you will find a list of dates which are mentioned. You can take that. Or you can also make use of a video that I think I did last year, which includes again all the important dates. You can have a look at that video as well. As I said, for instance, the 1924 Belgavi session, the 1939 session of the Congress, again where, because of whatever happened around Subhash Chandra Bose. So there are certain sessions of the Indian National Congress, the formation of the Muslim League, the partition of Bengal, when did Simon Commission come to India, so all these kind of years are important. 1929, the Purna Swaraj Declaration. So all these dates you would need to remember. Then there are certain chapters like the UN organs chapter, the UNICEF, UNESCO, etc. Also the Security Council, the two United Nations chapters, judiciary, which will have facts that you would need to memorize. So the trick for that is to make your own notes and use your own quotes. You are interested in movies, use quotes around movies. If you're interested in any sport, football, cricket, basketball, volleyball, whatever, use quotes around that. So it depends on what you are interested in. Now, like for instance, the BMW code, budget, monsoon, winter session. You will never forget the 3 sessions of parliament. So don't try to rote learn, because rote learn will not help you largely in this kind of a question paper. If the question says name, just now what I mentioned. Try to make a list of the important governor generals and viceroys. I think there is a video of that also on our channel. Just do a search, you will find that. Okay, who did what? What did Lord Curzon do? What did Lord Dalhousie do? What did Lord Canning do? What did Lord Lytton do? So, you need to know the names, Ripon, Irwin, you need to know the names of all these governor generals / viceroys, what was their role. Okay, as much as possible, read your textbook so that you use the relevant keywords. For example, in a question about the partition of Bengal, you need to mention that Curzon's aim was to divide and rule. Divide and rule will be a keyword, right? So you need to be, thinking that, okay, this is a relevant keyword that I need to use in my answer, and even underline it. That will help you highlight the keywords better to your examiner. A student asked me the other day that with 25% competency focused questions, does it mean that 75% of the paper will be PYQs? So हम PYQs पढ़ लें तो 75%, 3/4 of the paper will be taken care of. Okay. What I want to say is that while part 2 of the paper will be largely, a bit like the previous year question papers, the way those questions will be asked this time will be different from the way they were asked in previous years. I'm not saying entirely, but there would be significant changes in the manner in which the tone of the questions will be a little different. Okay, how will that happen? There will be picture-based questions. In the past, always the photograph-based question that was asked was a photograph from your textbook. So you were familiar with those photographs. Now it's no longer happening that way. You will be getting cartoons, you will be getting caricatures, you will be getting different photographs, you will be getting newspaper headlines. So you need to know, what does Benito Mussolini look like? You need to know what a particular freedom fighter looks like. You need to know what different world figures look like. So you need to be familiar with the people who are part of your syllabus. You need to know how Lord Mountbatten looked like. So that kind of familiarity is important, because if they give you a cartoon or a different photograph or a caricature, that kind of familiarity is important. Okay. There could also be data-based questions. Okay. just to make you think more deeply, which may need minor calculations, nothing very complicated, but just to make you feel, put that little bit of stress on you, pressure on you, ki socho, it's not a straightforward question, you need to know कि ये in swinger तो नहीं है, ball अंदर तो नहीं आ रही है, and I have to play it accordingly. Okay, so that's something very important. So while content will remain the same, the packaging will be different. You understand the point I'm making? The packaging, the way the question will be framed will be different this time. तो उसमें आपको confuse नहीं होना है. Okay. I've already mentioned to be careful of the words that are used. Time management, give 30 minutes max. That's a lot of time. 30 minutes is more than enough. In fact, you should be able to do it in 22 minutes itself. This part 1, that is the MCQs and the 7 questions for the short answer questions, 30 minutes max. Then you give civics ke 2 questions, 15 minutes each. The 3 questions of history, 15 minutes each, so that's 145. So you are left with 15 minutes during which you could revise, or if you want, attempt an extra question. That's entirely up to you. You could attempt an extra question if you think you have the time and you would want to do so. So history civics will not put you too much of pressure. As far as time management is concerned, there is enough time as far as unless you get stuck on some particular question. But if you prepare very well, I don't think history and civics will really be a problem. History, civics and geography, which is a slightly more tricky paper, can take your marks to the moon. It can also take you down. So ensure that you get a good chunk of your marks from social science so that it can boost your final best of 5 percentage. I hope this exhaustive video was of use to you. As I said, question bank is on the Study with Sudhir app, which you can make use of. Tata, bye bye. God bless you.